Hello. Welcome to the board Redditor. We listen to Reddit stories and I either rate them with good or bad. Let's get into the stories. My dog is 16 years old. She's in reasonable health, fair bit of arthritis, slowly going deaf / a little night blind, but she sees her vet regularly and they're happy enough with the state of her health to allow her to continue her slow amble into her twilight years, so all is well there. Due to the aforementioned arthritis, she has a special orthopedic dog bed that's supposed to give her old body all the support she needs to remain comfy. She seems happy with it, but we did notice that as she can't climb onto the bed / couch anymore, she doesn't get to just chill with us as much. This is kinda sad, especially when she's spent her whole life being as close to us as possible when we're at home. She's a Kelpie mix, so while she's not a huge dog, she's not really a lapdog either. Until one day a couple months ago I realized if I sat in the recliner with her and leaned the recliner all the way back, she could lay across my stomach and chest and become a lapdog. Naturally I tried this out, and she loved it. It quickly becomes a new routine every couple of nights. After she's had her last wee before bed, we have some time on the recliner with her eventually falling asleep on my shoulder. Having some time off from work over Christmas / New Year's, I didn't have to worry about my own bedtime as much, and could spend most nights having some cuddle time and for longer. As she's now 2 or 3 years past her life expectancy at this point, I don't mind too much. I suspect these will be moments I treasure once she finally does make her final trot over to the big dog park in the sky. Tonight though, I thought I'd spend some time taking the last of our Christmas ornaments down, tidying up, doing a few extra chores before bed instead. And I tried until I heard the whining. I knew she didn't need anything at this point. She had her dinner, had after dinner garden strolls, been out for a wee, had an after dinner snack of the kibble she left over from dinner, had a last minute pee break. She should have been happy to peacefully drift off to sleep. And then I realized she'd come to have expectations. And by deciding to knock a few things off my to-do list instead, I was not meeting those expectations. So I am now typing this on my phone while a geriatric dog softly snores on my shoulder. So I am going to rate this story as good. It is a cute dog story and we love animals in the board Redditor channel. Let's hear the second story. This happened a few days ago. Went paintballing with my office colleagues as an end-of-year celebration. In a game, I ran to the edge of the arena hoping to flank the other team. 2 people on the other team had the same idea and we found ourselves in a standoff behind some wooden cover. I shot the first person quickly and they called their hit and went away. It was then between me and one other guy. I am going to call him Dave. Instead of wearing a full helmet, Dave wore only a mask which left the rear and top side of his head uncovered. Unluckily for him, the top of head was visible to me through a slit in his wooden cover. I considered for a moment what to do. Do I shoot him in the head and cause immense pain and agony? Do I wait for a shot against a more protected part of his body? In the end I thought I only need to shoot him once for him and I to be on our way. And by wearing a mask and not a helmet, he full well knew what could happen. So I steadied my aim and shot him through the gap in the wood clean onto the top of his head. I heard a scream, "Ah, you bastard." But he didn't call the hit. He didn't even move from his position. So I shouted, "Call your hit," but he didn't respond. I'm sure he heard me because I saw his head turn slightly when I spoke, but he didn't call his hit. So I shot him again, and again, and again, in the exact same spot on the top of his head. With each shot he let out a grunt, but did not call his hit. It was kind of satisfying actually, seeing the paintballs explode on the top of his head. At this point his head is a yellow / red paintballing mess, but yet he still does not call his hit. Eventually a marshal comes nearby and I tell him that he does not call his hit, but as you can see that he is covered in paint. The marshal tells me to shoot him once more to see it for himself. So right through that slit in the wood, I shoot him in the exact same spot on the top of his head. He doesn't call his hit and the marshal pulls him out and escorts him away. I then see him after the game, crying his eyes out holding a bag of frozen peas against his head walking toward the car park. Turns out it was my line manager. My boss. I'm not sure whether to tell him it was me that shot him after the Christmas holidays. I was smiling during that whole entire story. This is a certified Reddit classic. Extremely good. Let's hear the third and last story. I drink a lot of coffee. My mornings consist of 200-300 milliliters mugs of coffee, and I sometimes have a third after dinner later in the day. Recently, I got far too into James Hoffmann's videos and decided to upgrade my shitty drip coffee machine for a proper precision brewer. And when I say precision, I mean that this thing comes with a water testing strip so you can calibrate the machine for the mineral content in your water supply. Serious nerd shit. To justify the ludicrous amount of money I spent on what appears to be the Hadron Collider of coffee machines, I did some research on brewing ratios in order to maximize the allegedly life-changing potential of this equipment. Now, coffee science says the ideal water to beans ratio for this brew method is about 60 grams of grounds per liter of water. Out of interest, I decided to prepare my usual ratio from the old machine and see how close I was. It turns out, since I got the old machine just over a year ago, I've been brewing at about 20 grams per liter, resulting in what I now realize is pathetically weak brew. I prepared a proper 60 grams per liter brew with the new machine, and the resulting coffee was on another planet. The flavors were so developed it was like I could taste the touch of the Colombian farmer who picked the beans. I drank my full morning dose of 2 300 milliliters mugs in just over an hour. And then, I discovered an unexpected side effect. The year of drinking weak-ass brew has conditioned my body for weak coffee, and I had just drunk over half a liter of coffee that was theoretically 3 times as strong as usual. It has now been an hour since I finished that first pot, and I can hear the passage of time. A fly flew past me in slow motion. I made an omelette for lunch, and I beat the egg so fast it turned into steam. My heart no longer beats, it vibrates. And there is something unholy brewing in my lower intestine, and I am fearing the wrath of God when it is released. Send help. In my opinion, this story isn't as good as the others. Too much information and not a strong punchline. I'll rate this one as bad. And with that, we have reached the end of this video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode of The Bored Redditor.